there she is. Wife of the year. Hello everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Spirit XL's Refit. Here she is in all her glory with a new cabin top. And well, the last week's been pretty busy. I've been smashing out the work. I have to say, firstly, welcome to the channel if you haven't seen it before. This is a channel about this amazing Trimaran, Hammerhead 54, designed by Chris White. And she's been under refit for the last 3 months here on the Gold Coast since the middle of February. Yeah, we replaced the cabin top and we've done an extensive amount of work on the boat. So every week I walk through what we've been doing, try and remember everything we've been doing, and just talk about what we've done and explain why we're doing it. So this week we have been working on the cabin top a lot. Fuck, it looks good. It looks so good. Let's leave that bulkhead over. Once we got the cabin top on, the first step was to glue it down. So we had to glue it to the boat. So we sat it on blocks of wood and we had bolts through them. And then we ran a big glue bead. That was the ATL glue that we're using. We ran a big bead of glue right around the flange so that when it came down and sat on the deck, there was glue between the cabin top structure and the deck, and the glue squeezed out. And the bolts made sure that it was located in the correct spot. Then you can see at the back, when we look forward from the bulkhead, you can see the camber. You can see the cabin top isn't flat because it had been downstairs on the ground for a while. It had lost the camber and it was quite straight. We pulled it down over the top of the bulkhead, which gave it the correct camber. And then we let it set overnight. We put heaters on the inside to keep the boat warm. It's getting a little bit chilly here at night. Then the next day we came in and we removed the bolts and we started glassing it to the boat. So on the outside, it was 2 layers of 650 double bias, staggered, 1 layer here and 1 layer just a little bit lower. Make sure that they have a 50mm contact with the deck and with the cabin top, at least 50mm. More really, it was a bit more. And there's the 2 layers of that on the outside. And then there's 2 layers on the inside. So while the outside was being taped down, we worked on the inside. We worked on cutting, because the deck edge came out and was square. So we had to cut that off. And then we had to round the edge all the way around. We had to round that edge. And then we had to glass and tape the inside. So that first day that the cabin top was glued down, the bulkhead was also attached and it was glassed. So you can see the tape join, the bulkhead, the new bulkhead joining to the bottom of the existing bulkhead here. You can see the transition. So that was taped on at the same time to locate that bulkhead, make sure it didn't move, as the cabin top. And then the next day we came in after we'd done the outside and started on the inside. So that was a week ago. So in that last week, we've glassed the cabin top on, and you can see the guys have been working really hard. Everyone has been working really hard. And we've got a lot of fairing done. Still a lot to, well, not a lot, but still a bit to go. And something I should explain as well is that, you know, there's obviously different levels that you can do things. You can spend months in here fairing and making sure that everything looks like it came out of a mold and that it's perfect. But Claudia and I aren't like that. We are more about the boat being strong, and the boat being more about function than the way it looks. So, you know, like for us, it's you know, if the roof's fair, which you can have a look on the video, it's beautiful. The roof looks fantastic. We're so happy with it, especially with this nice low sheen paint. I'm really happy with the way it's come up. So I'm just trying to say is that we're not working on making sure that the boat is perfectly fair. You know, as long as the boat looks nice and tidy and everything's good, we're really happy, and we think the boat looks fantastic. You know, we just want to make sure that the boat's strong and that she's a really safe platform for us to live and cruise on. So we got the knees in, and then a couple of days later, last week, we got those knees in. And I've just been painting them a little bit today, working on fairing them in a little bit and painting them. The same on the port side, the knees are in over there as well. And this is where our sheeting point will be here, right between those two knees. Right here will be the gizmo. Put in the little shelf at the back of the stove. Claudia's stove goes here. So I've put in this shelf, just coved it in, non-structural, so it's just glued in. And then this is going to be the shelf next to it on the opposite side. We're going to have a water tank here. And then in the old Spirit, we had made these webbing bags. And what we like about it is instead of having shelves and building structure, what you can do is you can hang a webbing bag, and in that you can put your binoculars. You know, we'll probably have one here as well where the iPad will go, or our phones, or a torch. You know, it's really good. It's a great place to have emergency equipment. Like on Little Spirit, above the exit, we used to have a little bag where we had torches and flares and, you know, like a few of those things that you may need in a hurry. Fire extinguisher will mount over there. So, you know, we'll put a power point here in the top. So that there's a place to charge your phone, or for Claudia to, you know, use her electric sort of cooking devices here. So, you know, her Thermomix, or, you know, if she's got a crock pot or slow cooker, she'll be able to do that there, and there'll be a power point there. And then we'll probably just do a zip door here. We really like simplicity, so we'll probably do like a really nice sort of canvas door, and there'll be a zip in it. And then behind here will be all my tools. This is a water maker. This hasn't been obviously glued in yet, so you can see I've put a shelf in here, and I did it simply so I could pull it in and out if I need to get to the bottom of that, to the water maker. So that just lifts out, and then this box here, which is around to protect the water maker, that just pulls out as well. It pulls out, then you can get to the back of the water maker, and that'll just give me a really nice little spot to keep my tools, and super simple. Just drops in, and you can get it in through the door as well. So once I've got the top on, it won't be locked in here. But yeah. So in here will be all the tools, spares and things like that. And then, yeah, that's above it. It sits above it there. Like that. So pretty happy with that. Yeah, floor up forward is in, which is awesome. Really stoked. Got the floor in there. And yeah, really nice. We've made that center compartment watertight, so that's why that's a small round opening. And here there's large hatches because down there is the depth log and water temperature sensor. And up forward is the two seacocks for the forward head. So yeah, that's all glassed in, and that's now become structural. So that's going to make the bow of the boat even stronger. Clothes put a couple of coat hangers in here, so we'll be able to hang our wet weather gear and some clothing here in the beam box. And then up the top we've just put a little lip in here. Actually, we did that yesterday. We just glued a little piece of L-shaped fiberglass to the sides there, so that Chloe can put plastic boxes in here and they won't slide out, because that's on an angle. It's actually angled down, so everything in there wants to slide out. If it was flat, we'd be okay. But because it sort of angles inward, everything wants to slide out. And this is the beam. This is carbon. And this is the box section of the beam. So when they make this boat, when they build it, there's these two bulkheads. And then they cut a hole in the hull. And they build these beams, and then they slot the beams in to the hole and then glass them in. It's really, really simple. It's actually really simple and pretty effective and pretty amazing. Amazing. It's just incredible how strong those beams are, really. When you see the boat pressing on that forward beam at sea, running down a wave, and the boat sort of presses, runs down the wave, the apparent wind comes forward, and you really start to press that bow. The amount of load on that beam must be huge. So they have to be very strong. Really cool. But the boys came up with this great solution to the seating. We were going to cut it in and just join it to the back of this, but we've just extended this straight along, which is a fantastic solution because it's made this really rigid, and it's made it structural. So that'll give this area a lot of strength, and which is quite important because this is where a lot of load is. You've got the two winches. And then the jammers will be there as well. So there's a lot of load in this area. And the same on the other side. Yeah, just blended it in. And it's awesome. Yeah, really great solution. And so it's a good solution because it looks good. It's given us a seat back. And then at the same time, it's a solution that's added strength to the boat. So yeah, really, really good. Really happy with that one. And you can see lots of bogging and lots of fairing going on around the place. But we're hoping by the end of this week that we should be able to start seeing some top coat on. So we should start getting some gloss. This is just a high build primer that we've got on. So that all needs to be sanded. And then hopefully maybe another high build, and then hopefully a top coat, which is really exciting and really cool. Chloe's been sanding the decks. She's been working really hard and sanding. She's got this beam done, the top of that beam done, and she's done this beam now, and she's out on that port side there of the port forward end of the float, or of the armour. We call this the beam, or the aka in Polynesian terms, and then the float, or the armour. All right, let's go downstairs and just have a little look what we've been doing downstairs. That's about it for upstairs. As you can see, really a lot of the energy and the time is being focused now on getting this on and getting it painted. Once we've done that, it's really just putting the boat back together. We've got that floor to go inside, but the forward floor is done. And now this floor inside needs to be done. We'll do the chain plates out here on the beam ends. And then that should be pretty much most of the big jobs done. And then really it's, engine back in, steering back together, rewiring, replumbing. So cleaning, a lot of cleaning, because obviously there's 3 months of dust on the boat. There's a runner chain plate at the back there. It used to run through a turning block here, like a foot block that was attached to the side of the cabin. We're having a rig designed so that we don't need runners. Once you're, say, looking down on the boat, Here's the mast and the shrouds. I'll go forward and try and explain it a bit better, but you can see that our shrouds attach here, okay, and our mast is forward there. So if that angle is over a certain amount and the structure is strong enough, you don't need to have runners. Obviously, if you're a race boat and you're running huge masthead sails, yeah, you probably need some runners. But if you're a cruising boat, as we are, and as most multi-hulls are, you are that wide angled spreader base means that you can do away with runners. So we're trying to do that because that'll mean that we can, it'll just simplify our deck layout. And yeah, everyone knows that we're all about simplicity. So that'll allow us to get rid of a line that runs up the deck here, which was a trip hazard, especially at sea. If you want to go to the back of the boat and check the rudder and the steering, you had to cross the runner, which for some reason came across the deck, through a block, and then across the deck again, through a jammer or a clutch, and then to a winch. So it crossed the deck twice, which made going aft a tripping hazard. So now that's going to be gone. So there's no tripping hazard. And yeah, as long as the rig and the boat structure can handle it, we don't need them. So that's what we're hoping. We're hoping we can do away with them. We have a very good mate of mine, Dave, here in his van out the front. He's here for a couple of weeks to give us a hand. Dave's been sanding back some of the copper coat. This will get another coat. And we did find that when we applied it, I'll just go over here. We did apply copper coat. We applied copper coat, and when I say copper coat, this is the copper coat that I'm talking about. Copper coat. It's the original from England. These kits, one of these kits does about 4 square meters, and they're about $250 for a kit. It's about, I think, what is it, a litre. So it's not cheap, but neither is anti-foul. And what we love about copper coat is that we will put it on this time, and we won't need to put any more anti-foul. We'll be able to haul the boat out, clean it, and give it a light sand. And we shouldn't have to apply copper coat for another 10 years. But they sent us these rollers, and we just found that they didn't give it a really good, smooth finish. It was a bit stippled. The finish was a little bit rippled and stippled. And the thing with copper coat is once you put it on and roll it, you then have to sand it. You have to burnish it to expose the copper. You need to sand it back, which exposes the copper to the water, and that's what makes it work. So obviously the smoother it is, the better, because if it's not smooth, you'll end up with bits that you can't sand. You'll just sand the tops of the stippled off. So it's really important to try and put it on as flat as you can. So spray painting, it's probably the best. But when we did it in Thailand, we used these foam rollers, and we got a really, really nice finish. So we're going to use the same rollers. We're not going to use the ones that they recommended and sent, because we found that they didn't do a good finish. Yeah, Dave's sanded, went around and sanded all these little fairings that I've put on, so they're going to get ready for another PPG, which is the high build primer. They'll get another one of those. Feeling really nice and smooth. Oops, a bit low. And yeah, then they'll be painted with a top coat. We'll just do a little patch here and blend it in. Dave's also been cleaning the bow thruster today, which is fantastic, giving that a bit of love. And then that'll be anti-fouled, and all of that'll be painted in there. That won't be copper coated. That'll be anti-fouled, and it'll need to be primed because it's a bronze housing. Yeah, so also been working on the This will be the panel for the electrics. So we've cut it out, and then I epoxied the edge of the foam, just made a little shelf up the top here so that you can put your phones and things. There'll be a USB in the side so you can plug in power there and charge your iPad or phone. Down the bottom will be the engine start or the engine control panel. There'll be a 9-inch B&G radar plotter, and then 2 Triton instruments here showing wind and, well, showing whatever you want. They're like a FFD or a fully functioned display that can show whatever you want, which is pretty cool. So that's pretty much what's been going on. Lots of sanding and lots of fairing. And I have to say, that's what we feel these boat refits are like. You know, they're virtually 3 stages of sanding. You bring the boat in, you grind everything out, and then you fiberglass, and then you grind the fiberglass, and then you start fairing and painting. So you start sanding, fairing compound, and getting ready to paint. But it's really just a big 4-month grind. A big 4-month grind, but we're getting there, and it feels really awesome. It feels so good. This last stretch of the refit is always where things come together pretty quickly. The boat looks like a mess, but I know that we're not too far off now. Probably another month, another 6 weeks. Yeah, easy, another 6 weeks, and then we should be looking at getting out of here. But a few people have asked some questions. One of them was about the helm. We're going to leave the helm for now. It is a dream to get rid of it because you can see how much of the cockpit it takes up. It's right in the middle of the cockpit, and it takes up a lot of space. It means if you want to come and walk to this aft cabin, you virtually, every time you got to go around the wheel. If there's someone else in the cockpit, it just makes it a little bit cramped. And we really enjoy exercising, and this is a really nice space to do some stretching and exercises. So really keen to get rid of the wheel, which we will. It's just a matter of time. I think that we need to redesign the rudder to make the rudder more balanced, and it also needs to have proper bearings in it. At the moment they're just bushes. It needs proper roller bearings, and it needs a balanced rudder because the whip staff it just the way that the leverage and the loads and everything will work just means that the rudder needs to move really easily, and it doesn't at the moment. It needs a bit of load to turn it, so that needs a lot more thought to go and change that. So we will, for the moment, just put it on the back burner, and we'll wait. And that's about it. If anyone's got any questions, please just write them in the comments. I'll try and answer them. I do get a bit lost because I feel like these videos come around so often. I really feel like, it's crazy. Like I just feel like I make them, and then, a day or two later I'm making another video, which is really wild. The weeks just go so fast. But have a look at her. She's awesome, huh? She looks so good. And she's beat up in a shed at the moment. Wait till she's out of here. One other thing I wanted to talk about is we got the 2 carbon posts for the back. And I really want to give these guys a shout out because they've been fantastic. So at the back here, we've got the Starlink on the port side here. You can see this is the mount for the Starlink. So it's a 75mm tube that goes in there. And then there's a 75mm tube in here. And the starboard side is the radar. So one post is for the radar and the other post is for the Starlink. And they're 3 meters high. So they sit up nice and high. And there is a company in Brisbane, Australia, and it's called Enhanced Composites. And Murcia is the owner, and he's been fantastic. He's really helped us out. And have a look at this carbon tube. It's beautiful. Really nice 75mm carbon tube, and they're only about $360 each. which I think is pretty reasonable for a carbon tube, considering I was quoted $2,500 by a well-known New Zealand composite company. And yeah, anyway, they're awesome. I've put the Starlink mount on the end. It's on the other end. I'm not going to pull it out, but yeah, I've epoxied the Starlink mount into the end. So yeah, it'll look really good. And this is the old post here. This is the old fiberglass post tube. And that tube, yeah, it's pretty heavy. So these carbon tubes probably weigh about, well, wouldn't even be a kilo each. Whereas this one probably weighs about 4 kilos, this one here. And yeah, and then the aluminium one, the aluminium, that's it over there that the radar was on. Have a look at it, the bloody thing. This weighs about 20 kilos. It's absurd. It's absurd how heavy that is. It is absurd how heavy that is. So, yeah, so pretty happy because that means we've lost, we've lost another 15, 20 kilo off the back of the boat. So, yeah, pretty excited. Love losing weight. And, well, when the boat loses weight, I don't think I need to lose any more weight, but I don't mind the boat losing a bit of weight. So, yeah, pretty happy. Check her out. All right, folks, I've probably bored you all and, yeah, put you to sleep. Sure, there's a couple of lunatic multi-hull lovers out there that enjoy these, but yeah, I'm really happy to know that there's people out there that enjoy this type of stuff, because it's pretty cool. An awesome old boat. It's, yeah, getting a little bit of love and being brought back to life. It's, yeah, we're very privileged to be in a position where we can do this. And, yeah, very lucky to have the people around us that we do and the support we do. And, yeah, just want to thank everyone. Thank everyone that watches these videos, that likes them and that comments. And really thank you to everyone that's come down and said hi and visited us. And thanks to everyone that's been a part of this journey, that's helped us get Spirit to this stage, and that's helping us sort of bring her back to life. Thank you very much. And yeah, as always, we really hope that everyone's doing really well, that you're all living your dream, and we'll look forward to talking to you and showing you more of what's going on next week. But all the best from Chloe and I and Spirit XL.